The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
This is the second time we've had to we had to restart, and Spencer still won't stop doing this European DJ Duhast bullshit.
Okay, man, this is the first time I've been on KNR in a long time. I'm excited. Okay.
I don't blame you. But yes, this is Knights of the Nerd Republic. Pay no attention to the screen. We had some internet issues. Pretend you don't see it. Focus on our sexy, sultry voices and my, unfortunately, baby's ass face. I don't like it. We also got a nice little surprise coming your way in a moment here. But
now you can't see.
We got...
I'm the surprise.
Yeah,
What's
Connor's
up,
the surprise.
Connor, good to see you.
You as well, Spencer. You as well.
I'm trying to cover up the horrible...
It's okay. It'll go away, and it'll be a pretty landscape eventually. But in the meantime, welcome back to Knights of the Nerd Republic, the show where your favorite nerds talk all things from the galaxy far, far away. I am Freshman Steel City Con, kind of sweaty, a little smelly. I can admit it. You want to know the gross? It's about to get really gross. It's not pit sweat. It's back sweat.
Ooh, that's the worst.
Yeah. Can confirm.
Yeah,
I also just want to say I'm glad for the price of nothing, our loyal listeners and viewers just got to watch you lose your appetite for a whole week with the face you just made.
No, I was just thinking about I was thinking about whether that would be an appropriate time to make the classic human hair from my back reference.
For background,
I was thinking maybe that's why you were having such back sweats is because
anytime he sees me without a shirt on, he starts quoting Pirates of the Caribbean because I am a very hairy individual.
he's hairy.
So that's an inside joke. But I'm here. Spencer's here. Connor's here. But you know who else is here? A special guest from the galaxy far, far away.
Hello, my friends. It is Hondo, and welcome back to the Knights of the Nerd Republic. You know what to do, and stay profitable.
Absolutely.
I got to meet Mr. Hondo Ohnaka, a.k.a. Jim Cummings, a.k.a. Winnie the Pooh and Tigger too. Keep your eyes on the social media because Lexi and Travis also met him. We were kind of passing ships at Steel City Con today. I just wanted to be there to greet Lexi. Those of you who have been watching Campus Life know about Lexi's new Padme cosplay. She's doing Lake Dress Padme. She was wearing that, so I wanted to get to see her in person in it. Wanted to see how the photo op turned out, and then I got out of there because I've had a very long day at that convention. Not a bad one, just a long one. I was in line. My dad doesn't do podcasts and stuff, so I can freely say this. My dad wasn't able to make it, and he was really upset because he wanted to meet Meatloaf, famous rock star, and partially because my dad was also given the nickname Meatloaf as an adolescent, and he was really bummed that he couldn't meet him. So I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll go get my dad a Meatloaf autograph, and I'm going to just sit on this until Christmas. Because I thought, silly me, surely his line will not be insane.
Oh, Jared.
Ask me how long I was in line for Meatloaf as a cumulative from yesterday when I gave up and today.
How long?
Hey, Jared, how long were you in line to see Meatloaf? A cumulative of yesterday and today.
I could have watched the Snyder Cut.
What?
Oh, wow.
4 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
About 3 1/4 today, and maybe like 45 to an hour yesterday.
Wow.
I could have
That
watched
is-
the entirety of the Snyder Cut.
Wow. You poor thing.
I didn't.
If I had 4 hours, that's not what I would watch. But I see what you did there.
I mean, I know you would go to like the Lord of the Rings special
absolutely,
editions, but,
absolutely special edition.
Return of the
all
King,
the
baby.
way.
but but the line was grueling, and so was the Snyder Cut. So,
It fits the theme of the day.
yeah, that's beside the point. We're gonna have like a new addition to the intro, obviously using the audio Mr. Cummings graciously supplied us with. Spencer asked me the question before we got started. How did you put it?
I said, like, walk me through the progression of events from the time you got up to his booth until the time you were shoving your phone in his face.
So
Yeah, I want to hear
The-
this.
so because he's such a famous voice actor, and again, Jim Cummings is in everything that you like and you don't realize it. He is the voice actor Ben Kingsley. Like, Mofo just disappears. He has the option that he'll like record voice messages for you. A lot of the time it's people who want to get like a funny like voicemail greeting.
Yeah.
So you can be like, oh, bother, I can't come to the phone right now from like Winnie the Pooh or whatever, you know. I figured, I was like, well, I'm going to get my autograph. And it's going to be hung in here. It is addressed to the Nerd Academy. Stay profitable. Hondo, Jim Cummings. So that's going to be hung somewhere over here. But anyhow, on his pricing, they had the voice message option or shout out videos, stuff like that. So, like any convention, you know, you go up, you pick the picture you want to have signed. I went with that one because I'm pretty sure this is from his first appearance. Like, I'm pretty sure this is still from Dooku Captured. I picked the picture. I was like, I explained, you know, want to have him do the thing. Handed him the money, signed the thing. He was very sweet. He was like, he talked about how he loves to play Hondo. Kind of like in passing went, Hondo's not going anywhere.
Oh.
Which that's a sentence I like to hear.
I mean, I do, but I don't for reasons that we'll discuss later this episode. But anyway.
Oh, wow.
I think I know where you're going with that.
Of
And
course you do.
and if-
I've talked about it nonstop for a while now. Anyway.
But yeah, he was like, Hondo's not going anywhere. We talked a little bit. And then he's like, so you need me to do a voice message? He said, yeah. I was like, I host a Star Wars podcast. I, explained like Nerd Academy's the network and then Knights. And I was like, it's called Knights of the Nerd Republic. I was like, if you could do some type of like Hondo, like, hello, my friends, welcome back to the Nerd Republic. He's like, oh, yeah, I can do that. And like right as he was about to do it, like the PA system went off and it was just the, attention, Steel City Con attendance. And it, like went on for like 8 minutes like it normally does.
Of course.
And we were both sitting there. He looked at me. He was adorable. He was like, this guy ever shuts up. He's adorable. He's so cute. He's so cute. He's sitting there. Like if you've ever seen a picture of Jim Cummings, like when you think adorable old dude, he's exactly what it looks. He's exactly what that sentence, what that phrase looks like.
Oh, Connor's on the job. He's looking.
I'm looking it up right now.
But he was sitting there. He was wearing this red T-shirt in like yellow Winnie the Pooh style font. Just said "Oh bother," and then like the dash, like it's a quote. And it was like WH Pooh on the shirt. Like he looks so cute. Like I said, keep your eyes on social media. Eventually, Lexi and Travis are going to post their picture with him at some point. I'm sure they look adorable. Lexi, like we said, was there with the like dress Padme. I'm not going to spoil Travis's cosplay. All I will say is it has to do with us talking about how much he looks like Oscar Isaac, and no, he wasn't there as Poe Dameron.
Oh, I could go on guessing. I could go on.
You'll be wrong with each one, but
was he Llewellyn Davis?
You're just gonna have to wait and see it on the socials. It's
okay.
amazing, and I'm not gonna spoil it here. Yeah, he took my phone. He went over. He went over it a couple times, like held it up to his face. He's like, "Hello, my friends," and he did his thing, and I was like, I was
That's
geeking out. I was like,
Incredible.
he just went right into Hondo mode. You're probably gonna want to turn your Wi-Fi off because it's probably still searching for the other.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah, you're right.
But yeah, no, it was really
incredible.
cool. I know. I said, I had a lot of spending to do today. So my plan,
No, he's cute.
isn't he adorable? Isn't he precious?
he is. He really is.
Are these all his?
Yeah, that's all him.
Get out of here.
Not Scar in the movie. I think he was Scar in something like some type of tie-in because obviously Jeremy Irons did him in the movie. But,
Right. Well, he sort of. Did he? Never mind. That's a story for another time.
but yeah, it was really cute. There was this girl in front of me who was getting Winnie the Pooh stuff signed, like almost everybody else. I think I was the only person I saw getting a Hondo autograph, but this girl was just like getting more and more antsy and giddy and enjoying herself while he's signing the stuff. And he like gestures at her to come here like this, and then she like pokes her ear around, and he held his hand up like this, talking to her, and you could tell by like. And normally when you use the term shit-eating grin, like it's because the smile is smug.
Yeah.
But like for lack of a better term, shit-eating grin, like it was like a Santa smile,
Yeah.
right? It was a
No, I
Santa
gotcha.
Claus smile. And this girl, her hands started shaking because you couldn't hear him, but you could tell by the look on his face and the look on her face, he was doing the Winnie the Pooh voice
Oh.
at this girl, and she was losing it. It was precious. Jim, if for whatever reason you look the show up after recording the message, thank you very much. I hope you tune in next week when we have it stitched into our actual intro. It was a pleasure meeting you, sir. It was an honor. Yeah, Jim Cummings, hell of a guy. Really funny. And just,
Absolutely incredible.
again, my favorite old man.
So, before we get started, Connor has a story.
I think Conor was planning on telling that story off air.
Connor, tell
No,
me a
yeah.
story. It doesn't have to be the
That's-
one that you were about to tell. Tell me a story.
Oh, wait. Okay, so yesterday was Free Comic Book Day
Oh,
because this is
Because it was Friday the 13th.
No,
Free
no,
Comic
no,
Book
no,
Day
no,
is
no, no.
always-
No, because we drop this on Sundays. And so we drop these on Sundays, as everyone who's listening knows, so I'm trying to make sure that like I say like yesterday as in Saturday and not today as in Sunday.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay. Okay.
So yeah,
So today
Yeah.
is Free Comic Book Day.
at time of record.
At time of
yeah,
record.
at time of record. So yeah, Saturday was Free Comic Book Day. There was a line at the comic book store, and I was very shocked because
Lines at comic book stores make me happy.
I just didn't expect it.
As long as I'm not there for 3 hours. But
But I ended up talking to this couple about just comics, Star Wars, and whatever else. I kind of just they were at like they asked me like, "Oh, what comics do you read?" And I said Star Wars, and so like then it just kind of the guy started asking me questions about Star Wars and comics and everything, and then I ended up talking to one of the store attendants there about the High Republic. Because I didn't pick up. So this might surprise you guys. I actually didn't pick up any Star Wars comics because my philosophy with comics is trade paperback or bust. So I
Fair.
just go with the trade. But I ended up picking up this single issue comic of this series called Lady Mechanica. And it actually looks pretty interesting. So
hell yeah.
it's
Good
It's
for
set
you
in
for
a-
not reading exclusively from the big two.
and so to make it quick, it's set in this fictional steampunk Victorian. It's set in the Victorian era in this fictional steampunk world where this lady she has mechanical limbs because of a horrific science experiment gone wrong, and so
Okay.
she's a
Wait.
private investigator.
So
And
how
now-
did she get the name Lady Mechanica?
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I literally just, dude, I don't know anything about this story.
I'm
All I know is
making a
just the
joke.
summary.
He's
Yeah.
being a
I'm-
dick,
I'm-
Connor.
Yeah.
Nah, you're fine.
You say she has all mechanical arms and legs, and I say, okay, but how did she get the name Lady Mechanica? Okay,
Went
sorry.
right over my head. R
I won't
slash
interrupt you again.
That will go into the r/whoosh subreddit right there.
But yeah,
But,
no, that's awesome. I'm glad you had a good free comic book day.
Yeah. I just had a wild day in general, but you guys will get to hear that on Campus Life.
All right.
Excellent. Little sizzle for campus life. Yeah. Well, without further ado, okay, before we do it, we hit Hondo one more time.
Yeah.
You
I
wanna
want to
get
hear
on?
him just one more time. I mean, we'll hear him like every week from now on, but I want to hear him again.
I do too.
It's never going to get old.
Hello, my friends. It is Hondo, and welcome back to the Knights of the Nerd Republic. You know what to do, and stay profitable.
It's so cool.
It's
is
so
so goddamn cool.
incredible.
I
It
am
is so
going to
cool.
we are going to build an arsenal. Like every time there is like an iconic Star Wars voice, I'm going to do it. Julian Glover's at the next one. And part of me really wants to have like this is General Veers.
Comscan
Do
indicates
it.
the Nerd Academy Republic,
Knights of the Nerd
the Knights of
Republic.
the Nerd Republic have entered the atmosphere.
Veers Watch on Twitter will go ape shit.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
You know, Dennis Lawson's gonna be there too, so we can like start doing that as like a regular thing. We're gonna have like you know, what's Wedge's call sign?
Oh, isn't he
Oh.
red too?
That's what I thought.
I thought it was wait. Isn't he wait, no. Yeah, I think he's red 2, and then after
Yeah.
New Hope, it's Rogue 3.
It's just how cool it would be. You know, this is Rogue 3. You're listening to the Knights of the Nerd Republic podcast. Like anytime I get my
Yeah.
hands on a Star Wars voice, like if I could have afforded and if he'd even be willing to do it, Carl Weathers was there too.
Oh,
But like, I don't think I would have been able to talk him.
he's hot stuff right now.
Yeah, I don't think that would have happened. But like voice actors, or people I feel like I could be like, hey,
You can negotiate with them. Yeah. I feel
That'd
like
be cool
give-
if like
make big enough puppy dog eyes at him.
this may
do
this
the-
may be
yeah,
a
the Kim
stereotype.
Possible puppy dog pout.
This may be a stereotype, but I feel like voice actors are generally way more approachable and like almost more human. I've met some very awesome, film celebrities who have been very personable and they've been
Yeah.
very kind. Some really, really nice people. But I feel like voice actors who automatically function kind of like in the background I feel like they have much less of an ego and in many cases would be like more personable. That might be a stereotype. I've only met one or two film actors and one or two voice actors, but they seem like genuine.
There's going to be two things. I want to say this, and I want to pitch to your story about when you told your family when I sent you the clip.
Oh yeah, okay.
I just need to say right now, if they ever book Kevin Conroy at Steel City Con, I will spend every red cent I have to have one on the main show of just, this is Batman, and you're listening to the Nerd Academy podcast. Like, every penny. Like, I will do unspeakable acts to get Kevin Conroy to just like, this is Batman, and you're listening to the Nerd Academy podcast. Like, I can't put into words how much I would act up to get that audio.
I would do unspeakable things. So anyway, there I was in the family room of my house, and my parents and I were all watching The Love Boat together because my mom watched it with her grandparents when she was a kid, and so she's been rewatching it. And I started just like, it's something to watch, but it's actually kind of entertaining. But anyway, so we finished an episode, and I was like, I'm on my way to the podcast, but I want to show you something, Dad. my dad has been slowly catching up on like all of the Marvel things and all of the Star Wars things. Like he finished Clone Wars earlier this spring. He started Rebels, and he watched The Mandalorian. He like rewatched the anthology films recently, I think. And he's been working through Marvel one at a time. I want to say he's somewhere around Ant-Man or thereabouts.
Okay.
But anyway, so I said, Dad, you remember the character Hondo from Clone Wars, right? And he said, yeah, the pirate guy, right? Wasn't he in Rebels too? I said, on the inside, I said, Dad, I'm so proud of you. but on the outside, I was like, yeah, listen to this. And I played him the hello, my friends. This is Hondo. And just like over the course of that 8-minute segment, just like the widest ear-to-ear grin I have ever seen on his face just slowly started spreading across it. And once we explained to my mom what was going on, she was like, wow, that is really cool. And I sent it to my friends from college, and they were wigging out about it too. And it just like, I have this image in my brain of my dad just like going from looking a little interested, his eyebrows a little furrowed, and then his face relaxes and he just like opens up into this big grin. Is priceless. So without further ado, we've got some real stuff to talk about on this episode.
Yes, we
some
do.
Real important stuff to talk about on this episode.
The Bad Batch finale.
The Bad Batch season 1 recap review finale coverage.
We're just talking
thing.
about the finale. Next
You told
week,
me this was a season review.
No, I said the finale review.
Yeah, that's not a. Yeah,
that is what I said.
We don't review the finale.
Yes,
we talk
we do.
about it. We review the season.
Okay, episode discussion. Next week, we are going to be joined by none other than Adam Lance Garcia to discuss the season as a whole.
Oh well,
That you just
all of the
saw
things that I
video
was
watchers
prepared to say,
was Connor do my favorite thing where I tell him who the guest is on air, and we get Connor's surprise to whom I booked. It's always fun. Spencer, you've not been on
in a while.
I
It's been a
appreciate
while.
you
For a
guys
long
letting
time.
me cannibalize myself on not been on.
You've been not been on.
You've not been on for a while.
Namely on KNR.
Correct. I have
And not to
been
talk about
on-
Bad Batch at all.
I have not been on KNR proper in a shamefully long time. We've been
Versus series.
We've been sort of keeping up with Versus series this summer, and
We've been
done
keeping up. We've just been not dropping it on the first.
that. Yeah, that's true. We've gotten it out in its correct month, just
Yeah.
not always on the first of the month.
Heroic History 101, not so much. But the Versus series.
Yeah. Beat that, Travis.
It's my fault.
But I've been on some stuff here and there. I was on an episode of TNAP proper a week or two ago.
Yep.
I was on for the Raiders audio commentary, which was
Yes.
a blast. I cannot wait for the second two.
Wait till you meet our guest for at least one of them. For the review itself. Like, I got to make sure you're up for the
right,
review.
okay. Well, in any case, I assume that was a setup for. So, Spencer,
How have you felt
catch us
about the
up-
Bad Batch leading up to
Okay,
this point?
Well, since I don't know if I'll be able to be on for the actual season 1 review, so I will just treat this as a kind of like a season 1 review.
okay.
I definitely sent it to you, but this meme keeps popping up on my phone. I don't know what the the template meme is, but it's like this astronaut, and he's like, wait a minute. And he's looking at the Bad Batch. He's like, wait
Yeah.
a minute. They're all filler episodes. And the guy behind him is like, they always have been. And I looked at that and I was like, I can relate. The season premiere was phenomenal. Episode 2 was like still pretty good. And then it was like flatline for most of the rest of the season with like the occasional beep, like tiny little heartbeat, where there would be some like building action with Crosshair. Basically, anytime Crosshair was in the episode, there was just like beep, beep, beep. And then it went back to being like, okay, this is interesting, but not what I was hoping we would get out of this. And this is a really way of describing this series, but it is both everything I hoped it would be and everything I hoped it would not be. Let me explain that. We've seen some really cool action between the members of the Bad Batch. We kind of got the tip off early on because of the trailer that Crosshair wouldn't be in the picture for most of it.
Yeah.
And we figured he'd be an Imperial turncoat. So that much I was pretty much expecting. I really like Crosshair as a character. I was needless to say disappointed that move was made, but from a storytelling perspective, I can respect it. I respect the crap out of it because it creates like all kinds of cool tensions within the Bad Batch, but also there's like, ooh, what's going to happen? Like, is he going to try to kill the rest of them? Or is he going to are they going to turn him back? Like, what's going to happen?
Not that when the way I phrase this, I don't want this to come off as though I dislike this show because I like it. But one of the few things that are really amazing about the show, like its strongest hand to play, is Crosshair's dynamic with the rest of 99.
Absolutely. And I assume we're in spoiler territory now.
Yeah.
We've crossed over. You're in the danger zone if you haven't seen it yet. But the way they left off the final episode, since this is technically episode 16 review, the way they left it off for season 2 to start up next year or whenever next year,
probably.
Okay.
I don't think we have a date, but
probably.
Yeah,
next
we
year.
don't have a date, but I think it's 2022.
Yeah,
they've left it very much open for. It looks like Crosshair is going to stay in Imperial, but like they've come to this weird almost understanding. Like Crosshair, it doesn't seem like he's any longer under this disillusionment that like they left me behind, and so they're in the wrong. They should have stuck with me. I don't think he's there. Like he recognizes that they still care about him and that they always did. And they were like, you do realize what you're doing is nuts, right? We love you as our brother. We always will. But like, we can't do what you're doing. We can't run with that crowd. And I think he recognizes at this point, like, it's nothing personal. This is just the side we chose. And whether we can shake hands at the end of it is up in the air. Whether we will be able to survive it without crossing paths in a more, violent sense, who knows? But I don't think he's hunting them anymore. Like when he asked for, what is his name? Rampart.
Yeah.
When he asked for Rampart's permission to hunt them down, I think his goal was, I'm going to confront them and I'm going to make them understand what they did to me before I kill them or turn them into the Empire. And he had his chance. He confronted them. And I think his little pout is over. Like he's not playing the part of the broken man. Like, somebody hurt me. I think he's like, all right, that phase of the story is over. We'll just see where it goes from here. Now, that being said, back to it's everything I wanted it to be and everything I didn't want it to be all at the same time. I really wanted, like I said, some cool dynamic between the Bad Batch characters, which we got. Omega was the left. She was the change up nobody was expecting, I think. But she's ended up working really well in the group and individually. Like I can see very clearly and I can feel in my little heart of hearts, I can feel her dynamic with every single member of the Bad Batch, including Crosshair, which is awesome. Like the fact that we are able to feel that connection, even though they are enemies, they're like on different sides of this war. The fact that I can say with reasonable certainty, Crosshair might even like Omega. Like he plays the part of this grizzled, like, get away from me. I don't want to talk to you. He plays that part, but he knows Omega's the only one who comes close to understanding him.
Yeah.
And is the only one who cares about his feelings. I know that's like, oh, heaven forbid guys have feelings, much less like the grizzled, veterans that are modeled after, old Western characters with, the toothpick and everything. Because let's face it, Crosshair is basically a gunslinger.
Yeah.
But in a different sense, okay, this is gonna sound a little strange. Crosshair is the Clint Eastwood of Star Wars, as opposed to the Mandalorian, who is also like this Western gunslinger style character. But like,
I'd sooner compare, if we're talking Eastwood, I'd sooner compare him to like a Dirty Harry.
No. Crosshair is definitely like a Josie Wales, a good, the bad, and the ugly kind of Clint Eastwood character.
Okay, I follow. I understand. Okay.
Whereas like
very laconic.
Yeah, and he's got like the narrowed eyes, like the squinty look, and Clint Eastwood in a lot of his movies is always like practically chewing on like a long thin cigar, which is kind of like a toothpick. Like,
yeah.
So that's very much the style that Crosshair gives off. Whereas like contrast that to a different kind of gunslinger, like the Mandalorian is much more like the Marshall Dillon from Gunsmoke, like he's a gunslinger, but he's not that intense. He can be, but in general he's not, especially after season 2. But all that to say, like Omega can connect with that. She can see through that in a way that I don't want to say only a child could, because like,
no, but I think there's
not,
truth to that.
There is some truth to it, but it's not like the only person who could get through to Crosshair is Omega. She has a knack for it.
No, I do think I do think it is a child. Like, I do think there is that level of like engaging somebody on that very like remove every ounce of nuance to the situation, and it just be, you're sad and you're mad and I'm sorry you feel that way. I hope you know I love you, and I hope that makes you feel better. Where like that's a dynamic I love in any media, where the kid just says like, your feelings are hurt, and it's like, oh, this person suffered this like horribly traumatic event and it turned them into a monster, and it's like yeah, I think you're being a little reductive, but yes, my feelings are hurt.
So I love that about Omega's character. I was hesitant in the early part of the season because I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Like, they're going for this trope again, like the grizzled combat veterans who, turned babysitters. And
I mean, it's just a Dave Filoni trope.
It is
the protagonist accidentally becomes a parent.
Yeah. And that's we'll get to Dave Filoni. Don't worry, Dave. I'm coming back to you. And that's what I was really hoping it would be. I was hoping it would be a lot more and a lot better of what we saw from the Bad Batch arc at the end of Clone Wars. I was hoping for that out of a show. And we have gotten that and more. Some of the more is really solid. Some of the more is driving me nuts. And I said it before the season even started, and I said it after like every second or third episode through season 1 of Bad Batch, and I would just text Jarod and I would say like, I told you this would happen. I told you the exact thing I would not want to happen, and it's happening, and I'm not happy. Dave Filoni is...
What was the exact verbiage you used?
I don't know.
Because it was something to the effect of, this show has become a roll call of Dave Filoni's favorite and original characters.
Yes. And I'm not going to let, that's basically what I said. But
pretty much, yeah.
Dave Filoni, this is my progression. This is my view of Dave Filoni over the years. Let me preface this by saying he is the greatest Star Wars creative mind since George Lucas created Star Wars in the first place. I'll just put that out there. I believe that to be true.
Every storyteller has their weakness.
Every storyteller has their weakness.
Stephen King can't end a book to save his life.
Stephen King can't do it. Oh, I thought we were gonna do this bit where you would just.
I was just using another example, but
Dave Filoni cannot help but bring back his favorite characters from previous projects. He can't do a new Star Wars project without bringing back old
without it
characters.
indirectly being a sequel to the Clone
He
Wars.
can't do it. He cannot. Clone Wars is a masterpiece. The series Clone Wars is nearly flawless in my opinion, despite the sketchy animation early on and some of the less interesting storylines that are out there. It is a masterpiece of a show. And then you get to Rebels, which I didn't watch when it came out because I was still spitefully angry they canceled Clone Wars. Dave Filoni at the helm of Rebels 2. And what we see in Rebels is a recurrence of his best characters. You see Ahsoka in Rebels. You see Rex in Rebels. You see Wolf and Gregor in Rebels. We're introduced to Hera Syndulla in Rebels. And Obi-Wan comes back. Maul comes back, which not complaining about.
Yeah, again, amazing stuff all happens here.
The way
he writes incredible stories, but you can write a very similar story with new characters. And what Dave Filoni's weakness is, in my opinion, is he relies too heavily on the pre-established characters that have been a success. He has written characters in his shows that have become next to nothing, and there's a reason why we don't see them again. But all of the characters that have any level of registered success, like Ahsoka, like Hera, like Wolf, like Rex, like Hondo, we see them over and over and over again.
That's to say nothing of his original protagonists who can carry the story, like your Ezra, like your Kanan, and even though there is like the weird thing with all the cameos and stuff, the Bad Batch, like they when the episode is actually about them, they shine.
Yes, but
I want to pause for one moment because I feel like Connor had a thought.
No, I was just going to say that the way in which Rebels did it, I thought was perfect because it wasn't, you didn't run into the problem that the Bad Batch show did, where it's like a cameo every other week, which like
I agree with you very much.
The cameo, here's the thing.
Yeah,
here's my thing. The cameos themselves are fine. They're sometimes they set up other things in future shows, and sometimes you're thinking like, oh, what's this for? But also at the same time, it's like, oh shit, Cad Bane showed up. It's like really cool. And then like, I thought the cameos themselves were fine. It's just the issue for me, and I think for other people, was the fact that they were so frequent. If they were more spaced out, if some of these were put into, say, season 2, it's just, I feel like it would have felt more organic, and we could have used those episodes and those moments of, hey, focus on this cameo from this guy from Clone Wars and use that to focus on, hey, the Bad Batch. So, like, I get where you're coming from. And I think, again, that's one of the weaknesses of Filoni. Sometimes he gets too self-referential.
He gets very lost in his own sauce.
And let me clarify, this gripe I have with Dave Filoni's creative style didn't become a gripe for me until season 2 of The Mandalorian. Like, I was still like 100% like, yeah,
in
you go, guy.
In Filoni's defense, a lot of that is Favreau. Like, Favreau had his finger in that pot as the showrunner. Like, yes, it was like Filoni's creations, but by the same token, Favreau was the one who pointed it in that direction. And for whatever reason, Mando season 2 was the Star Wars Iron Man 2, where it's like, post credit scene about Thor, and we're gonna show Cap's shield, and we're gonna reference the Avengers Initiative, and here's Shield, and here's Nick Fury, and here's the map, and here's Wakanda, here's Atlantis. Like, season 2 of The Mandalorian, ironically also being directed by Favreau, as well as Iron Man 2. Like, it had that vibe of like, this is what, like, it's like, okay, here's Black Widow, here's this, here's that. Okay, here's Ahsoka, here's Bo-Katan, here's Boba Fett, here's Fennec Shand. Like, I don't want to rest that completely on Dave Filoni's shoulders, but there's also no way in hell Dave Filoni wasn't involved in making it that
Absolutely,
way.
he was.
Sure.
He was definitely in the room.
Yeah.
And I trust Dave. I trust the hat. I trust him. But Dave,
but man, he's got to get better at this shit.
Now. and I mean, there are times when a back reference makes sense. For instance, when you have an entire show about a Mandalorian, there needs to be a Bo-Katan appearance. You can't get around that. People are going to say, why the heck didn't we see Bo-Katan? She's an awesome character. We want to see more of her.
Yeah.
And no arguments here. But, we got a little bit of Ahsoka. I didn't mind seeing live action Ahsoka. Rosario Dawson did a fantastic job, and it opened another can of worms that was Dave Filoni related. Granted, Thrawn was not an original character from him, but Dave Filoni brought him to life in Rebels. And what we got out of season 2 of The Mandalorian was Ahsoka. We got a reference to Thrawn. We got Bo-Katan. Again, not griping about that one. But
I will say I can
call of characters.
Part of me gives Bo-Katan like not quite as much as the like, oh, we're spinning this off, because the Bo-Katan stuff feels like setup for season 3 of The Mandalorian.
I'm like I said, Bo-Katan excused here. Like, Bo-Katan accepted. Everybody else that made a cameo or an appearance in season 2 of The Mandalorian didn't need to be there. Like, you can write a good story, and I'm confident that they will. They have so far, and I'm confident they will write a good season 3 with these characters being involved. But you don't need them. I feel in a show about Mandalorians, you need Bo-Katan. She is the only relevant Mandalorian left after Rebels, after the Clone Wars. It makes sense. Now, fast forwarding then to The Bad Batch. Learning my lesson from Mando Season 2, recognizing what bad Dave Filoni looks like, I said, Jarod, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm really scared that this show is just going to turn into like a victory lap for Dave Filoni, where he's like,
I love that phrase.
Where he's like, hey, you remember my award-winning character? My award-winning original character that is beloved by audiences everywhere, Ahsoka Tano. Do you remember her? You remember Ahsoka, the little orange-faced girl? Yeah, you remember her? Guess what? She's coming back. Thank goodness she hasn't so far. But it's coming.
I'm stunned she did.
But
there's
it's
good
coming.
reason for her to show up, but I'm stunned it wasn't in this episode. The show in this episode.
It's either going to come in Bad Batch, or I think it's going to come in the sequel to Fallen Order.
I hope it doesn't come at all.
I mean, she's getting her own TV show.
I don't want to see her at all. I don't want to see her in Bad Batch. I don't want to see her.
Okay. Oh no, I'm saying
I love Ahsoka's character. I love Ahsoka's character. I don't need to see her. I don't want to see her, because let's just like do it off the top of our head count right now. Characters that could have been replaced, were not essential to the storyline, that made cameos in season 1 of The Bad Batch from previous Dave Filoni projects. Cad Bane, Harrison Dula, Kanan Jarrus.
I agree with the Kanan one.
Yeah,
so bad.
Captain Rex is a necessary.
Here's the thing.
Captain Rex is necessary.
With the Kanan cameo too,
all the way back to the season 1 or the season premiere Discord.
Here's the thing with the Kanan cameo. The best part about that is that someone suggested it to him. He's like, yeah, that's cool. Let's go with it. So like, literally, they were probably thinking of an original Jedi to put in until someone was like, hey, let's put in Kanan Jarrus and kind of retcon 2 issues of the Kanan comic written by Greg Weisman. And it's like,
This isn't like a, hey, George, I want my lightsaber to be purple. Okay. You know, like, this isn't that kind of
Why
like.
does Depa Balaba, I almost said Depa Banana. Why does Depa Balaba have a blue light? Yeah.
When I saw Kanan,
that doesn't see, those little things don't bother me. I know they bother other people, and I get that, but like the fact that like
it bothers
I've
me.
talked about the season 1 retcon a lot. I don't want to really rehash it, but yeah, I'm just not. It's never gonna bode well with me.
I knew that season 1 of Bad Batch was going to be everything I hoped it wasn't going to be. As soon as the show opened up with Order 66, or shortly before, and I just hear Caleb, I'm like, oh no. They're already starting with Kanan in episode 1. I don't need to get like a check-in with all of the Filoni characters at every point along the timeline. I'm happy with, hey, Kanan was in Order 66, and he's kind of messed up because of it. That's all I need.
And
that's all I want.
Here's the thing, Spencer. The whole Filoni characters thing. I know he didn't work on the Gathering episodes, but like he was still pretty essential in in the creation of Clone Wars. Make one of the Jedi like one of the Gathering Padawans.
Heart-wrenching. That would be so awful for the audience to be like, Gunji, no!
like,
Katuni!
And the thing is, they don't have to even die. Like, you just have them have like a new master. Their master gets off. The whole thing plays like it was before, and it focuses on the batch more than it's just Caleb Doom. Again, this is what I've said before. I'm not a fan.
Man, Conor, where have you been all my life?
On this show,
spitting truth every week here on the Nerd Academy podcast while I am working most of the time. But anyway, thank you.
I was working.
That is a fantastic idea. Can you imagine how that would, like, let's start a TV show with Order 66. That's a terrible idea. Let's start the show with the most devastating and heart-wrenching scenes in like all of the Skywalker saga and anything made recently on screen or on the TV. Let's start that with the most dark and depressing moment in Star Wars.
We could also have a conversation about like the current state of Star Wars storytelling's hyperfixation on Order 66, which I like. I like seeing Order 66 from all different kinds of angles because like that, like everything to do with the Imperial takeover is like really fascinating to me. So like I love seeing it in the flashback to Jarod Tapal fighting his way through the Venator.
Yeah.
And I like seeing it in TCW. I like seeing it in Revenge of the Sith. I like seeing it in comics. I like seeing it here.
I like seeing it. But it sets the tone for this entire show.
I liked Kanan. I did like the Order 66
thing. It sets the tone for the entire show.
It was good.
If you start the premiere of the show with Order 66, can you imagine if the goal of that is we're going to start this show with our audience saying, "Oh my goodness, this is a messed up world that we are starting in right now." Have one of the Padawans that we invested 4 episodes in season 5 in The Gathering, have one of them be the ones that are experiencing Order 66 in the beginning of this show. They don't need to have like any kind of recognition or acknowledgement, kind of like the way they treated Caleb in this episode. It's just like, oh, hey, this is Caleb, but none of the Bad Batch characters know, and we're gonna treat it like, hey, who is this kid? If you haven't seen Rebels, that's what you're wondering. Hey,
that's why I think this. That's why, and I do want to refocus on the finale here in a minute.
Yeah, sorry, everybody.
No, you're good. I want to say the reason I don't think this applies is because there isn't like a big reveal that like, oh, it's Cad Bane. Oh, it's Fennec Shand. Oh, it's Harrison. Oh, like here
there definitely is though.
No.
It's
really played. It's really played down from the moment of her saying Caleb. and you hearing the very bassy voice of Freddie Prinze Jr. Like
Yeah,
there isn't
an
like a big
unnaturally bassy voice for a 12-year-old.
there isn't like a big like there isn't like a big pause. Caleb Doom, where he like draws his lightsaber.
And
Like it's just understated. Like, and again, for the fans who know that grows up to be Kanan
if you know,
Jarrus.
you know. Wink, wink.
If you know,
if
you know.
don't, you'll miss it.
If you
I
don't,
like those
someone
references
in a YouTube
generally,
video will explain it to you.
but that is surrounded by, hey, Captain Rex. Oh, hey, Cad Bane. Hey, Fennec Shand. Oh, hey, Harrison Dula. Oh, hey, her parents. Oh, hey, like one after another Gregor. Oh, hey, here's Gregor. Like it's just
The Martez sisters.
domino effect. It's for somebody who was wanting so desperately to avoid this exact thing, for like the first thing you see in season 1 to be a Kanan Jarrus reference, that was so depressing. Now, again, I will say, as a whole, I don't have a problem with this show. If my biggest gripe about this show is that Dave Filoni keeps calling back his own characters from previous shows that he's worked on, it's a pretty good show because they're pretty good characters and pretty good stories under the supervision of a really good Star Wars writer. And if that's my biggest gripe, you won't hear me talk about it.
It's still a big gripe.
It's a big gripe.
It comes back to like the criticism I've had, and again, this is gonna be the last part of like the season.
Right.
Before we move into like proper finale
Episode
review.
16
is that I have said a couple times, I think a version of this show where you remove the Bad Batch entirely and you make it an anthology show like the Clone Wars, where you can follow the Syndulas and Rex and the Martez sisters, where like make the show about them, you might have an interesting show on your hand. And the like, again, the fact that there are some episodes and some arcs where it feels like the Bad Batch are the guest characters, again, a conversation can be had there. But you hit the nail on the head really well there with a lot of that stuff.
There's only like 2 compelling new characters I can think of in the entire season. There's Sid, who is a character of lukewarm significance to me. And there's Hauser, who has stirred up an enormous amount of internet chatter for whatever reason. I mean, like, he's a clone. It's one of those things that asks way more questions than it answers. We know nothing about Hauser as far as I know. Why does he seem to have a moral compass still? Did he like hit his head
I've
earlier?
seen a lot of people posit the idea that because he's been on Ryloth and he's been like taking care of like the Ryloth specific issues, there may not have been a Jedi nearby, and that he may not have gone batshit crazy.
Okay, but I don't buy that. Anyway,
It's just fair.
yeah, I've said it before. I'll say it again. Star Wars didn't do itself any favors by giving clone troopers a conscience, because by giving them personality, by giving them morality, by giving them all these things in the Clone Wars, you then have to bend over backwards to explain why they would gun down their friends and their mentors and their commanders, instead of simply going with the line in episode 2, they obey any order without question. Done. Beautiful. The Emperor tells them to execute all the Jedi. Done. Consider it done, my lord. But you give them morality, you give them a moral compass, you give them personality. You need to explain why they would do something like that.
I think we might at some point. I look forward to it.
I mean, the inhibitor chip was their answer, and it's a pretty good answer. But it has.
I really like that answer.
It has.
I prefer the inhibitor chip. I prefer Order 66 being like the numbers you use to wake up a sleeper agent.
Yeah.
Far more than like the list of contingency orders from Legends.
Oh, I still love the list of contingency orders, but I see it as a combination of both. Like the contingency orders, there's 150 of them in place. Whether the Emperor made 150 to hide number 66 is an entirely different discussion. But I think they are all operating under, or possibly just one or two, because like a contingency order, like the Senate is in danger, secure the senators and take them to it. Like that doesn't require, like your eyes to glaze, your pupils to get
Good
real
soldiers
big.
follow orders.
Yeah, that doesn't
Good
require
soldiers follow
that doesn't
orders.
require the Manchurian candidate to happen. But Order 66 definitely does.
Yeah.
So
you're
like,
gonna just start.
I want to say it's a combination of the two, where it's like a
that.
sleeper agent kind of a thing combined with 150
Yeah, the
executive
fact that
orders.
they're programmed with 150 of these orders.
Right. So, officially, starting now, we are only talking about
Yes.
episode 16.
And I'm gonna pitch
Thank
to
you,
Conor.
everybody, for bearing in with
55
me.
minutes into this episode.
Yeah, sorry
Well,
about
20
that.
of that was Jim Cummings.
That's true. And then 40 of
Fair
that
enough.
was me on a soapbox. Sorry, everybody. Connor,
Thoughts on the
what
finale?
do you think?
I liked how the finale was very low key, and there wasn't that like big cameo or this like
Yep.
the big bombastic just battle sets that we're so
It was
used
about
to.
the Bad Batch.
Yeah,
It was about
and I
the
just really liked
characters.
that. Yep.
Thank
Yeah.
you. That's an excellent point that I hadn't thought about, though, Connor. Is that like this season finale was about the characters in the Bad Batch. It wasn't like some cliffhanger, introducing this character. Oh, you're gonna have to wait and see for next time.
Yeah, I was
Or
expecting that
Luke.
too.
Or like Luke and Mando.
Or like Luke and Mando.
As much as I love that scene, like, man, does it really fuck with the finale? It's like, it's great and it's a great moment, but oh boy, does it pull focus.
And
I
Connor
get nothing.
made a
I
great
get
point,
nothing
though.
from that moment. Hot take. I get absolutely nothing from that moment.
It's a
either.
lightsaber and really cool use of the Force, and I can't like. I really love that scene, and it just like, I have my own reasons, and it's not relevant to
Yeah,
the current conversation.
That was pretty much the first thing I thought, Jarod, when he first came on screen was, oh, this just deflates all the tension in the world now.
But
Conversation for a
yeah.
different day, because like again, like there's a very like. I'll say this very
Stay on
quickly.
target.
I know I just
Stay on
want to
target.
Put this very quickly. For those of you who have seen the series finale of the Justice League Unlimited animated series,
Stay on target.
best part of that episode, one of the best parts of the DC animated universe is the moment where Superman realizes all of Metropolis is evacuated. I can light Darkseid up. And he does his whole monologue about, I live in a world made of cardboard, and this is a rare opportunity for me to finally cut loose. And he beats the shit out of Darkseid in the way that you can tell Clark has been like waiting for an opportunity to deal with Darkseid in the appropriate way. And it's that like catharsis of watching Superman go to work on somebody, because it's Superman unloading on some poor son of a bitch. That's how I am with Luke at the end of The Mandalorian. We are watching a Jedi master go hard in the pain, and that is some good shit to watch. That is one of the many reasons why I like it. But Bad Batch finale.
Yeah, I mean, just with Bad Batch, again, to reiterate, just how low key it was, how more focused it was on the characters.
Absolutely.
Especially, I think the strength of this episode was really Crosshair and his dynamic with Omega and the Bad Batch, and just like how they played off
I
each
agree.
other. And again, like I said with last episode, these last two episodes are really just kind of like a microcosm of everything I've been looking forward to and everything I've really wanted, per se, with the Bad Batch, as a show. So I'm glad that Matt and Jennifer were able to deliver that.
Yeah.
So,
They did great work on this finale. They did a really good job.
I feel like this series premiere and the series, or the season premiere and the season finale, are like what I really wanted, and then everything in the middle is like, nah. And part of me wants to say, should have gone for the limited series. But then the other part of me knows that if we only got a limited series, I would be like, make 4 seasons.
Yes, exactly.
Let the show never end.
So okay, I've seen other people say this, and I completely agree with them. I'm glad I'm seeing a lot of people, namely Alex Damon. I was watching his live stream he was doing with Steel the other day, and I agree with Alex. This should have been. They should have bookended the season with long ass premiere, long ass finale. These last 2 episodes being one joint thing, because it was good, but shit, did the pacing suck? It is not the fault of the writers. The pacing is only bad because of the way the part 1 front loaded so much of the getting back together conflict, and then ends. It has that stinger of we're gonna carpet bomb Topeka City, right? We're just gonna send it into the ocean, which we predicted. So they end with that, and then I don't feel like part 2 of them trying to escape the crumbling city is a strong enough driving force. I feel like I would have been more tense and more engaged if I had done what I saw some people on Twitter did. Trey from Skywalking Through the League said, he's like, I didn't watch Bad Batch last week. I was saving it for the finale. I was saving it to go boom, boom. And I will bet that his watching experience was infinitely better for it.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think that anybody messed up as a writer, as a director, as a producer, whatever. I think the decision that this was not just one movie length, like the premiere was.
In the same way that people have been asking for a cinematic cut of the Siege of Mandalore, because it would just put all 4 of them together. It would make one heck of a feature length, almost kind of a thing.
Yeah.
In that same way that putting it all together without having to watch the end credits and then the opening credits for each one, kind of messes with because let's be honest, if I'm watching one episode of the Siege of Mandalore, I'm watching all 4 episodes of the Siege of Mandalore. I want to see that continuity of story.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that we knew we were getting into a show that would be going on in half-hour increments, but they started with an hour-long season premiere.
Hour and a half. It was
an hour
70 minutes. Yeah.
I want to go back and I'm going to rewatch it tonight. When I get home, I'm going to rewatch the premiere because dang, it's good. I haven't seen it in a long time.
And I really, again, I don't want this to sound like a critique of the material. I just feel like this is stronger as a third act, or maybe even the second act. If it's if we treat the finale as a 2-act thing, that it being connected, there not being a break between the bombardment of Topeka City and them getting submerged. If there's no break at all there, I feel like my tension is way higher.
That action is continuous.
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially coming off of part 1. It's almost a lot of people were friend of the show, Arzu Ahmed, from Space Waffles, made the comparison where Crosshair and that scene felt like Kylo Ren in The Last Jedi, where there was that very okay, what do you want to do? We could be on the same team now. It's up to you. And then all hell continues to break loose after you thought your controlled breaking loose of hell, was over, right? That it's almost like if The Last Jedi ended with Rey and Kylo ripping the Skywalker saber apart.
Oh, and you're just what?
And then The Rise of Skywalker begins with Kylo waking up, and it's just get to what the fuck happened, right?
Right. It reminds me of the story my dad tells me every time we watch Lord of the Rings. He had never read the books or anything like that, but he went to go see Fellowship of the Ring in theaters, and he's sitting through this 3.5 hour movie in theaters, and it ends like totally out of nowhere. And I think he said out loud in the theater, "What?" Because he had no idea that all 3 books and all 3 movies would be one continuous story. And he was expecting it to be more installments, like Harry Potter, like Star Wars. And so he went home.
There would be a fanfare at the end of Fellowship.
Yeah, and he said he went home and he read The Hobbit and the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy in the span of a couple months, and he was ready for the Two Towers. But that same level of disconnect between the first installment and the successive ones is detrimental. And if you're not prepared for it, or if it breaks in a really inconvenient spot, like you say, scene like Exhibit A, Topeka City getting blown to crap, cut. Like, under normal circumstances, that could be a very climactic way to end it, but only if the Bad Batch is like in the shuttle flying away.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to end the episode. You don't want to end part 1 with the Bad Batch trapped in the city, like getting blown to smithereens.
Well, I think a lot of it also has to and I think it's kind of just the way that like our brains are trained to consume television, right? Like when you end it there with the destruction of Topeka City, cut. When the next episode opens up, there's almost a sense of like the original conflict of what the hell is Crosshair going to do. By the time we get to the actual finale, it feels resolved. Like at no point throughout the episode, except for that one moment where Crosshair has the rifle, and you think he's going to try to drill Omega from the surface of the water.
It looks like Hunter at first.
Yeah, it looks like he's about to.
Yeah. He's like,
it looks like he's about to paint that tube with Hunter's brain.
Yeah, he's like, JK.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna shoot the kid. No, I'm playing.
Less.
So like, which one of my favorite, very subtle moments is the way the camera pans away after he does it, and you see
the rest
Wrecker,
of
the Wrecker especially, who's just sitting there like, very Pulp Fiction. I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Pull that trigger. I will kill you where you stand.
I may have just missed it.
But
I had no. I may have
lingers on him.
I saw that, and it's incredible. But I might have missed this, but it might have just been a continuity issue. But I didn't think he had a weapon. It looks like he's got nothing on him but his bare armor. Whenever they are like,
I think he takes the rifle off of the backpack, because Hunter takes his backpack after he gets incapacitated in the training room. And I think that's why it looks like he's pointing it, is because he's taking it off of Hunter. Gotcha. And then
I was going to say, like, is this one of those? I've joked about this off air, and I don't think I've specifically joked about it with you, but like the magic act that Tech does with his pistols, where like he's got his holster. I'm going to stand up. He's got his holsters like here on his sides, but more than once you see him like holding his pistols up, and then he like sticks his hands behind his back and he pulls out a tech pad and his blasters are missing. And I'm like, what? Your holsters are down here. They're not back here.
I think he might have several though. Like I think he might have a cop out.
I gotta say,
that kind of reminds me of when you're facing Trilla on Fortress Inquisitorius, and she pulls out the holocron.
Oh yeah, everybody's just like,
and then she just puts it behind,
fully planted up the butthole.
I love Fallen Order's keystering so much because everybody keysters everything in that game. Like everybody just goes the holocron.
Let me just put this back
and for my next trick, like
and I've seen Tech do this a couple times where he like puts his hands just above like on his lower back and his pistols are just like gone. And I gotta say he's got like the coolest outfit of all of them. I think like his helmet configuration is cool. His camo and his belts are really.
We've had this conversation. Echo and Hunter. Let me rephrase that. Tech and Hunter have the best armor. Echo has the best helmet.
I really like Tech's helmet, if I'm being
Here-
honest.
Okay, this will be a fun exercise. Let's do a mix and match. Okay,
Ooh.
take all of the elements.
Echo onto Tech. That's like the easiest
Okay,
for me.
Here's,
Like I could do that in a heartbeat.
okay, here's for me. I like Hunter's like dagger up the sleeve, like up the cuff. That's really cool. The two coolest places to put a knife are up the cuff or in the boot. Hands down, coolest places.
Agreed.
Or on the back of the belt. That's a close third, is like back here, like you know. So having one of those, that's a must have. I think Tech's helmet is the coolest. I want Tech's helmet partially because I wear glasses. Can I get an amen, Connor? Can I get an amen, Jared?
Amen.
Okay, here's another hot take. I thought Echo's helmet in Clone Wars Bad Batch looked cooler than his helmet in Bad Batch. Barring, of course, like the crazy little contraption lobot action he has going on in he's got clearly the business in the front, but my brother's got the party in the back. But I would go for the color of Echo's armor because it's like that really dark gray. I dig the dark gray. I would go for the textile helmet and glasses. I would go for like the Hunter trick up his sleeve. And yeah, basically I would want, the two holsters like Tech, but the color of Echo with the trick up the sleeve like Hunter and the helmet like Tech 2. Tech has the coolest armor. Yeah.
But yeah.
Connor.
Well, you're up to talk about the finale itself now.
Oh, I feel like
I'll
I've
just
chimed
make this.
in.
I'll just
Go
make
for
this
it, Connor.
quick. It's basically pretty much because I haven't really thought about it that much with this. So like, I'll just go with Spencer's, but with Hunter's armor, in the dark gray, and that would be my
Yeah. Hunter's armor looks really cool on him, but I'm definitely more of like the tech nerdy kind of vibe. Plus, I think like the it's okay. This is
I
totally,
love the fact that there's
again,
a space for his glasses.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love it.
I also love the fact that you can see elements of different styles of helmets in each of them.
Yeah.
Like Hunter's helmet is clearly a forerunner for the Stormtrooper helmet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tech's helmet
Yep.
is clearly a forerunner for the Scout Trooper helmet.
That's a very good one.
Wrecker and Echo are kind of like beasts of no nation, but
Nice.
Crosshairs is like a very streamlined, sleek, aerodynamic adaptation of a Phase 2. But you can see the influence on like the Scout Trooper like face mask, like the snout of a Scout Trooper on Tech, and like the eyes and the respirator on Hunter, like hinting toward the Stormtrooper of original trilogy fame. But that was a fun little exercise. I enjoyed
It was.
that.
If I could say one thing, I think color scheme wise, I fall closer to Hunter for doing that just because I want more red.
Red, okay. Yes.
The black and the red.
Yes.
That's a color scheme that I'm a fan of.
I appreciate the highlights of red, but man, gray is a great color.
I love
Nobody
dark
can
gray.
convince me otherwise. Gray is my second favorite color. I kid you not. It is awesome.
Your entire outfit are your two favorite colors today.
They are indeed orange and gray. I'm repping. So I've mostly shared my strong opinions about the finale and chiming in, just affirming what both of you have already said. I talked a little bit about how I like how Omega can relate to each of the characters on an individual level. Like with Hunter, there's very much this almost like father to child dynamic, or at least like significantly older big brother to child dynamic, even though Omega's the oldest of all of them. That's
which
funny.
I think is so funny.
That's so funny.
That's hilarious. I love it.
The last shall be first and the first shall be last. But like,
well played.
but like
very well played.
With Tech and Omega, it's a little harder to sense, but it seems like almost a dynamic between like a professor and a student. Between Wrecker and Omega, it's like
crazy big brother
energy. and with Crosshair, it's like the grizzly World War II veteran that sits in the corner of every family function and like doesn't talk to anybody, and the little kid that just won't leave him alone. And they end up having like this, and after a while he'll like pull a coin out of her ear.
Yeah.
You know? Like that very old fashioned, very like, no, I don't want to talk to you. Kind of, it starts like that, but there's tenderness there, and you just have to dig deep. You have to find it. And I love that Omega can relate to each of them individually. With Echo, it's like it's kind of just a mix of all of them. Echo's a good mix of most of the other characters, particularly Hunter and Tech. But
so real quick,
yes?
little fun experiment that happened the other night. This was in Conor. Spencer, I don't think you're in this one either. This was a group chat made for planning camp stuff so that we wouldn't be bombarding you. And a fun little conversation happened in here the other night where Lexi and Travis kind of like T-Nap casted the Bad Batch.
Oh my God.
Tech is Joel.
Of course.
Levi is Crosshair.
Yes.
course.
Yes.
I am going to
Agreed
say...
wholeheartedly.
Mike has got to be Wrecker. It's got
Hold on. She said Travis is Hunter. Now I could go back and forth between you or Travis being Hunter, and we kind of like agreed on test tube baby for Hunter. And she said that if you gonna quote verbatim, I think Travis and I just realized Wrecker is Jarod and Mike mixed in a test tube. And I asked for clarification, and she said it's simple. Big chaos. TM.
Big chaos. TM.
Yeah.
If I wasn't so married to the concept of being addressed as Jarod the Dark Jedi on the internet, I want everybody to know that if I get drafted into the Schmodown, Jarod Big Chaos Bachman Stubbs would definitely be a thing.
Big chaos. TM.
TM.
Stuff.
Yes. TM.
You would be JBCTM BS.
That was so long that it stunned me.
It's
But yeah,
simple.
I don't think
JBCTMBS.
I don't think it's incorrect. And then a question came up of Conor, to which I said Conor is Echo because he is the guy who ends up roped in to a group of weirdos that he was not originally there for the formation of.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
You
I
can't
actually
tell
got
me I'm
blown
wrong.
No,
I was
you're
going to
not.
say because he's the most normal seeming of all of us, but he's got cool gadgets and
Yeah.
cool and like a cool dynamic he brings to the team. But you also bring a good point. Like he was roped into this nonsense. Like he's the belovedly adopted son of the Latrobe craziness.
Yeah.
It's like all of
I
us.
like it.
It's like this. It's like when I try to tell people about what we do. I'm like, yeah, it's like a bunch of my friends that I went to high school with, and then a guy I've never met in person. And but I love him dearly. I walk through fire for him. Never met him in the flesh, but
Yeah.
love him to death.
But we're at the point where I like we start an episode. I'm like, Conor, my guy. It's been ages. How are you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh,
good. I love
wow.
a good TNAP casting.
Right?
They're so much fun.
Hey, in the comments, give us your cast the Nerd Academy into different things. Hashtag Big Chaos.
Hashtag Big Chaos. TM.
TM. I just it's the way she put it, where it's like you take Mike and you take me and you get Wrecker.
Big Chaos. TM.
It's
The more I
not
thought
wrong.
about
That's
it,
the best
it's
part.
not. It's not like, well, because like she said before when she was like watching it, where she was like, "Yeah, you give off Wrecker vibes," and I think a lot of it was in that like very protective, like you stay away from my friends type thing, but then you have the Wrecker moments of like, "Hey kid, you want to defuse a fucking bomb?"
Also, Also, the fact
Which
that
is more Mike than it is me.
most get-togethers where you and I are in the same room, they usually start or end with, "Hey, you want to go grab a bite?" And the fact that like after every single mission, Omega and Wrecker go for some Intel mix,
Yeah,
there's always food involved.
there's always food.
There's
involved.
always food. So let's get a little bit back on track.
Yeah.
This is all good stuff. This is all good fun. I'm enjoying
This
myself.
is
Yes.
I hope our
incredible.
loyal listeners are enjoying this too.
Yeah, I love this. I hope you guys are too.
Yeah, most of my strong thoughts about this season finale were touched upon by both of you, and I kind of commented a little bit here and there. But yes, loved the how the terms on which they left the Bad Batch crew and Crosshair kind of like going separate ways, but hopefully at the end of the day we can shake hands eventually. I loved the action, but like Jarod said, having that break right in the middle of it kind of messed with things a little, just a tiny bit. What else?
I just can't wait to see them cross paths again next season.
Agreed.
You know,
It's so uncertain what the dynamic could be, because
Yeah.
for this whole first season, up until the second to last episode, the assumption was when they cross paths again, Crosshair is either going to take them in or take them out. And now it's like, what's going to happen?
and this is going to be a topic of discussion I'm saving to be like a bullet point in the season review. Is like I just really want to talk about the development of Crosshair and at what point any of his humanity came back. We had a big conversation about this last week, talking about the chip and everything, but it's just like I'm really hoping you're able to be on, because I really want to sit down and like really dive into that. I really want to hear your thoughts. At what moment? Because like there's a part of me, and we don't need to get into it now, but the episode where Cad Bane shows up for the first time, they're in the Venator. Like Echo gives the orders to shoot Omega. Like he's like aim at the kid, and knows there's about to
Crosshair.
be a fight. Yeah, that's what I said.
You said
You said Echo.
Oh, Crosshair. Sorry, I thought
yeah.
I said Crosshair. We're like,
Crosshair
Crosshair's
wants
like,
to off her.
yeah, we're like Crosshair's like very okay with killing Omega, and then he's doing the whole like get this kid the hell out of here. Last week, where he's like, "What? Why would you bring the child?" You know, he's like he's almost annoyed at the way they're putting Omega in danger, right?
Yeah.
Where like he's getting into that big brotherly, fatherly, like, what are you doing with this kid that I also care about?
Yeah.
And that also ties into what the hell the truth about the chip is, which again, conversation that is going to be safe for the season review. That we're like, there's just going to be a segment of the show that is all Crosshair talk.
Yeah. Something, speaking of Crosshair, especially in this last episode, in the quiet moments, it's just like a tight shot on his face, and you can see, you can feel, you can sense that inner dialogue. And that's something that good actors and good animators know how to do really well. You don't need to say anything, but your expression says more than you could. Like 3 seconds of good acting can say more than 30 minutes of dialogue, because you can see an internal monologue going on in their eyes and their facial expression. Like most of the time, Crosshair, when he has those like tight headshots in the film or in the show, are him like just kind of like looking down, just with a grimace on his face, like he's thinking things over. He's talking to himself in his
Big
mind.
mad hours for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see that inner there is no conflict, but you can see that inner conflict, and you can see like, these are my bros. Like, this is the closest thing to a family I've got. And what this are we really going to come down to a matter of, I'm not willing to go against the Empire? Is it really important to me to be part of the greatest power in the galaxy? Is it really important to me to be part of a family? Like, Are they what they saying about me true? Like, have I betrayed them, thinking all this time that they were the ones that left me behind? You can see all the wheels turning in his brain as he's sitting there quietly contemplating. You can see the tight shots on his face, and you can sense that desperation, that desperate need to know for sure what he needs to do. And I'm confident that in season 2, he will find out what that is, whether he remains loyal to the Empire and becomes a, fierce advocate for imperialism, like a continued trooper for the Empire, or whether he says, this Empire is just an empire. My crew are my family. That I'm confident that we're going to uncover that in season 2.
If I may piggyback on what you were saying.
Yeah.
I think that an interesting avenue to go with Crosshair. Because, to make another Kylo Ren The Last Jedi comparison, a la Arzu. In that same, in the same way that, the face and the tone of voice Ben has with Rey when he's making her the offer in the throne room, where it feels so saturated in that I don't want to do this alone anymore, but being Kylo Ren is all I know anymore kind of way, where I get a lot of that from Crosshair, throughout a lot of those silent sullen moments where it's all I know is soldier, all I know is killer, and it feels like he believes in the Empire, that he isn't just a pawn, he truly believes in what he's fighting for, which in some ways makes him so much scarier than a Kylo Ren or or a Count Dooku or a Darth Maul, where it's
if Tarkin was a soldier, like a frontline soldier.
He truly believes in the cause, and that's an idea that terrifies me. As a character, and it makes him very scary. I also think, conversely, it would make him very interesting is if by season 2, the road he arrives at is like Jules at the end of Pulp Fiction.
Where he's like, this is the only life I've ever known, and I'm trying real hard. I'm trying real hard to be the shepherd.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Now,
him having some type of exactly that conversation. I'm trying real hard to be the shepherd and trying to hang up. Because when you look at the Bad Batch, Hunter, natural born leader and tracker. Wrecker, he's the muscle. Tech, he's the tech guy.
He's the brains.
Crosshair is bred to be a killer.
His skill is assassination.
And beyond any type of soldiering. There's soldier and there's assassin. He's trained to kill. Granted, you're mostly fighting droids, so no sentient life taken. But just from meeting him that he's shot some organics a couple times and didn't flinch when he did it. Especially look at him in this show. He's
he would have
executing
had a
that
field
village
on Umbara, where it's not droids, it's native inhabitants aligned with the Confederacy. He's been mobilized to planets like Umbara.
Yeah.
And he has had no problem pulling that trigger. Where Wrecker is give me some droids, let me smash them around. That's Wrecker's vibe. But Crosshair.
Yeah, Lexi's ready. That would be very
Crosshair kills. But I can see the not moderated, the modified script in my head. There's this passage I got memorized. Good soldiers follow orders. I've been saying that crap for years. I never thought about what it meant. I'm starting to think maybe you are the orders and I'm the soldier.
It's funny, but I think that kind of ending for Crosshair, or the beginning of an arc of redemption of him having that moment of I really don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like
And
I
think-
like
Yeah.
I don't like the feeling of a blaster in my hand. Like it makes me sick. I want to stop.
And I think the Bad Batch crew who started the season,
That would be such an interesting character beat for him.
I think
God,
the crew
let him survive
who
it,
started-
please. For the love of God, don't kill him.
I think the crew who started with this perspective of like Crosshair let us all down.
Yeah,
Like if we see him, we have beef.
it's on site.
I think they at this point, I might be wrong, but I think by the end of season 1, they have more a perspective like you have lost your way and you have hurt us. But whenever you are ready to come back, your bunk is open. Like you're one of us. In a very prodigal son kind of a way, like you have wronged me, but when you come back, you're a part of the family.
And I just
Like,
want
Whenever you're ready to be nice, we're gonna be here.
You know who deserved that? You know who deserved that? This guy. This guy.
For those of you listening at home, Jared just held up his
This
Kylo
guy.
Ren helmet and pointed to his
This
leg
guy.
tattoo
Ugh.
and is saying this guy over and over again.
Listen, I'm just saying, like, God, I should have tried to have Arzu on this episode because I'm going hard in the paint making this about Kylo Ren.
As he does about everything.
No, I mean, listen, Arzu is the queen of making it about Kylo. Like she does it. I wouldn't necessarily. I don't know if she does it more, but she certainly does it better. I can happily admit that she's brilliant. It just makes me sad because, like, you know, given a circumstance where Carrie Fisher is still with us for the production of episode 9 and a direction of redeeming Ben, that conversation I think would have gone a long way, and I think it would have been really fulfilling for his character to have that, like, hey, we all kind of bungled this one, and we love you. Things have happened, but I love you. And that is the kind of, so like that's what Star Wars is. Like when we talk about, like, Star Wars is about family. Like it's about finding your family, it's about finding your tribe, but it's also about that, like, that knowledge of, like, they're still gonna hug you when you come home, you know? And yeah, and you know, this is a morality tale. It's all of these things. Yes, it's incredibly dramatized, but just that knowledge of, like, no matter how big you screw up on some level, they're still going to say, hey, I love you. And we're going to work together to fix this.
Except for Martian Rowe.
I hope they kill him slowly.
God damn it, Kevin.
The main villain of the High Republic has become amazingly written. Very intriguing character. Gives off Heath Ledger's Joker had a baby with Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Okay.
I've never hated a Star Wars character more in my life. Like, you've known me too long for me saying I unironically, unabashedly, completely hate the villain. Is it not a normal sentence for me to say?
Yes. It's not a normal thing for you to say.
I need this man dead. Like, no redemption. No, he turns good at the last minute. No, we understand him as a person. I want him dead. I hope something terrible happens to Marchion Ro. I hope he dies slowly. The era of the High, and we're going to say it at least once an episode until we do our High Republic Wave 2 discussion, and I'm going to keep saying it. I need him dead. Yes, I hope he dies, and yes, I think he deserves to die, and I hope he burns in hell. You brought it up, Conor. You made me do it.
I'm similar, man. Just
I know. Oh, speaking of our High Republic episode, That'll be coming out in the next couple weeks, and we will be joined by previously mentioned Alex Damon and Molly Damon of Star Wars Explained.
Yay.
Very excited to finally
Very
work
exciting.
with them. Lovely, lovely folks.
I wish this was the first time I was told that. But
We in attempts of planning, Connor had to actually know who guests
Yeah.
would be for big episodes.
I hope I'll be on that.
We're gonna
But we'll
try to
see.
make it happen. If not, it might just be me with the Damons, and I feel bad about it because I don't like.
We'll
when
have
it's
them on
kind of
some
about
other time.
me. Oh yeah, they're
We'll
gonna
have
be
them
back
on some-
around. Yeah. Especially on number one contender. I look forward to talking to the former champ at some point. But do we have any other thoughts here, or I think we're
Animation, as always,
look beautiful.
incredible. Just
But Disney
know what
Plus
it
is
is.
always is a little laggy sometimes. I don't know if
Yes.
you guys have experienced that, but like during some of the pans, it's like the tiniest bit jumpy.
I kind of experience it, especially on my laptop. Not on my TV, but my laptop. I notice it.
Well, we have the laptop HDMI plugged into the TV, so it's all the same to me. But something else that bugs me about Clone Wars since they put it on Disney is sometimes during like really intense saber flourishes, the white part in the center of the
Yeah.
saber turns black, like this weird blackish gray, and it looks totally bad. But I don't know why it happens. Anyway, unrelated. The animation is exquisite. The animators for the Clone Wars vein shows have come a very long way since season 1 of the Clone Wars TV show, and even the
Agreed.
Clone Wars movie. They have come a very, very long and impressive way.
movie. I fucking hope so.
Well, I think the worst animation in all of Clone Wars and Bad Batch is in the story arc R2 Come Home. It is dreadful. If you haven't seen it recently, go back. It is bad. Anyway, that's all
can't-
I've got.
Yeah, I just can't. I could look at explosions in that in the Bad Batch animation style all day.
All
That's how
day.
good they look.
Yeah, and even in
Oh my god.
even in Clone Wars on Anaxis when Anakin gives Wrecker the detonator, and I loved the effect of, I don't know if it's like hyperfuel or something, but the effect with that like almost mother of pearl color scheme as it blows up, like that rainbow, very bright like purples and yellows. Really, really cool effect there. So looking forward to a season 2. That's all I got. Are you going to do it again?
Let me do it again.
We got
at
to
the
do
end
it
of the show.
again.
Connor, where can the lovely people find you, my friend?
Oh, they can find me on Twitter @DepaBanana. They can find me on Instagram @ConmanJFO. On Facebook at the Alliance of Star Wars Fanatics, a Facebook group where if you just want to talk Star Wars in a constructive and happy and positive manner, you can. We try to take out all the hate and put it in the trash compactor. You can find me very, 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 very slowly writing articles on StarWarsEditorIG.com. The site is currently down just because of some payment issues and funds. But when it gets back up, be sure to check out my latest article, which is an interview with one of the writers of the Bad Batch, Matt Miknovitz, but I didn't talk to him about Bad Batch. I talked to him about his work on Jedi Fallen Order. It was pretty sweet.
I took the website down because I'm stingy with Connor. He's mine.
It's true.
All
Come
your
get him, Jake.
efforts directed to the Nerd Academy podcast. So you can find me on Instagram @SpenceManCosplay and on Twitter @SpenceMan49. Jared.
You have betrayed me by taking this boy as your apprentice. You guys can find me hitting it one more time. Oh, I gotta turn my volume back up. Shit.
Yeah, probably. You might want to.
Okay, sniffles.
Hello, my friends. It is Hondo, and welcome back to the Knights of the Nerd Republic. You know what to do, and stay profitable.
It's so good.
It feels like it gets cooler every
It does get
time.
cooler
Oh.
every time. The first time I heard it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Hondo. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Hondo. We got Hondo. Thank you, Jim Cummings, for that incredible intro. Our listeners will be hearing that all the time.
Yes.
Because it's so awesome. Thank you. Thank you for all the work that you've done for voice acting and for Star Wars especially, and for bringing one of the most interesting characters to the Star Wars universe and bringing Hondo to life. Thank you.
Yes, sir. But you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon page. Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus, Casey. Oh, no. Kaysen changed his name too, because some people started a trend. Looking at you, mystery person. Want to get Kaysen's new name right. Feige's Broomer Burner. His icon is the infamous picture of the adult actors on the couch, but it's Tusken Raiders and Shmi Skywalker. Y'all can enjoy that. Anyway, thank you to Feige's Broomer Burner, Michael Armburst, Delta 9, Zach Knaus, the Waffle Wizard, and Jarod the Light Sith. Apologies.
I think it's Armbrust.
Armburst.
Well, it's BRUST.
I think you're incorrect.
I think you are incorrect.
I think you're
You
incorrect.
better check yourself before you wreck Michael Armbrust. Yeah. Just be glad he hasn't unsubscribed.
Yeah, I know.
Michael Armbrust. Michael, please reach out to the Nerd Academy podcast to give us the correct pronunciation of your last name. Very, very many apologies that Jarod can't read. That is a shortcoming of his early education. Sorry about that.
You want to blow your nose in the microphone?
No, but if you
No.
want to play it, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Joel made. If you didn't see the TNAP episode,
I retweeted it with. I put it on
Yeah.
Twitter and then I retweeted it with the GNAP Twitter because I think it's hysterical.
It is
I'm not going to
very
try to
good.
screen share because I don't know if it'll actually play.
it is very funny.
But yeah,
I was
thank you
having
to
some
her.
allergy problems about a week ago
Yeah,
and was just blowing my nose constantly.
someone left a very mean comment on the YouTube version. Had nothing to do with your nose blowing. They just had a moment of like, wow, you guys can read from an article. And I was like, ow, like news aggregate here. Sorry.
We talk about it too.
We tell you the news. Like when it's an exclusive, I'm gonna like if Deadline has an exclusive, I'm going to read you the Deadline article
Yeah.
because it's like they broke the story. Like
Yeah.
it would be unethical for me to try to paraphrase the Deadline story and pass it off like it wasn't a Deadline exclusive. But
So
whatever.
Wow.
Be sure to consider the $5 tier where you get access to the Knights of the Nerd Republic Versus series hosted by us two idiots. July was Yoda versus Darth Treya. August will be Mace Windu versus Darth Malik. Very excited for that one. Heroic History 101 and the Movie Club audio commentaries. Pardon my hiccup. Be sure to check out the TeePublic link. It's linked on the website under Student Story. Get manner of all manner of Nerd Academy merch and goodies. Shut up. You didn't say anything, but your face is saying everything.
can't read, can't speak.
I was around Travis. I hugged him. I caught the illiterate. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, do all the things. Thank you all so very much for listening. We are honored that you have joined us. Hondo, one more time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hello, my friends. It is Hondo, and welcome back to the Knights of the Nerd Republic. You know what to do, and stay profitable.
It gets better every time.
It does.
Oh, that's
It really
incredible.
does. Anyway, we are honored that you have joined us, and may the force be with you always.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar.